there's something that really pisses me off. This is about the rules to intellectualism and generally intellectualism itself and academia in general. Oh my God, this is still here. Um, and grouping of people into categories based on their intelligence, their learning methods, and things like that, and people who um decide these things, people who think they are qualified to make those decisions for the entire humanity, the entire humankind. It's usually men. I'm sorry. I don't want to come off misandrous, but like it's just the way society works when not this profile. Okay. It's usually the categories of people that have privileges, so you can't really deny that. It was, if you look at French history, recent, uh, how the French society developed in recent centuries, you can see that very clearly that the rich, the upper class, always believed to be superior. Not only they thought that they had some inherent kind of superiority, like they exist and they're just better just because. But also they think they are smarter. Men do the same, and it's still happening because misogyny hasn't vanished entirely. And even if it did, its effects will still um live a few centuries, even if it can vanish. Anyways, I don't think there should be rules to intellectualism, and I think it's a very vague thing. I don't understand why people treat it as some kind of concrete movement. What? Like, we're humans, come on. We evolved in a way that kind of prioritizes intelligence because that's what kept us alive. We were not bigger than other animals, most of the other animals. We weren't stronger most of the time. What kept us alive for so long, for tens of thousands of years, was our intelligence. Yeah, we came up with wheels, we came up with the idea of mm, certain weapons. So, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Intelligence is important. But all of us are Homo sapiens. We are all intelligent to some degree, you know. And some of us are dangerously intelligent, some of us are genius, and some of us are barely surviving. That's also known. But why would you assume that it should still carry some sense of superiority in 21st century where there are civilizations? Like we're not in the wild being chased by bears. And we discovered empathy. Yeah. Man, even ants have empathy. It's like so strange to think that we're all animals and we just have to abide the rules of the nature. And if you don't, you're just left behind to your own devices. And if you die, you die. What the hell? Insects care for each other. We can't? Why not? Like, why not have empathy for those who are stupid? Like, I understand some people are very um dangerous for others and they're acting on their very low intelligence. Um that is very not very good for the rest of the humankind. But also, genius people also do that, and they're sometimes even more dangerous. The thing that makes unintelligent people dangerous is that there's a lot of them, and they come in like groups. There's a mass of them, and they like act together. They're more likely to organize, but very intelligent people um don't do that very often. They usually can't get along, but they're still constituting danger even by themselves. They don't need to group to, be dangerous for humankind. Um, okay, I digress. Let's go back to the intellectual superiority. Because it's very natural, intelligence is very natural for us, and it's a very biological thing because like our brains evolve that way. Even if we even if a person, a human, I'm sorry, not a person, a Homo sapiens grows in the wild with animals and still survives, which happens, um, and they don't acquire language and like some other kind of civil things that make you very intelligent, that makes you a person. They're still intelligent in their own way. Like they're still intelligent than the animals around, and they still adapt to their environments and survive things like that. There's a endless kinds of intelligence. It has variations, it has types. Like it's such a complicated thing. Who are you? Who do you think you are to determine for, like, to decide that for others? Like, I'm not gonna be able to help myself. I'm gonna talk about that guy I met at university. Um, so he used to think that he's very superior to everyone around him, and he even admitted to me that he doesn't respect anyone. It's just formality for him that he, talks to people with some basic respect and decency and things like that, but deep down in his soul, he doesn't have that. And no matter what you did, no matter what books you read, what movies you watched, what concepts you learned about, it doesn't matter for him. You are below him because he's intelligent, because he read some book about physics in second grade. It just wouldn't change his mind, and like there was no use. He was always condescending, and he would only ever take certain people seriously that he considered his kind. And I realized that it wasn't about intelligence like he thought. And he wasn't intelligent in the way that he thought. Like the guy was good at like technical sciences and things like that. He was sharp and quick. But again, there's a lot to intelligence. And he never had an idea of himself. So this is when I realized when I was like in my late teens, I discovered this concept of intellectualism, rules to intellectualism, and people that you're supposed to hang out with. Like it's very radical in my mind and very inauthentic. Like it's not too different from like radical organized religions because it's the same. Like they are determining your based on your I guess interests. They determine who you are, and they just pick certain people to hang out with, and they always talk about the same things. They have to like certain things. I'm gonna tell you. It includes alcohol. It includes card games. Um, it includes ancient philosophy, man, you have to have some kind of dislike for popular scientists and philosophers that are like very popular to the average person, and anything the average person can get an access to that's available to the average intelligence, because you have to be distinguished. Something has to make you different, because your entire sense of self and identity is based on being better than them, being better than the majority. And that's very inauthentic, because most of them aren't even truly intelligent. Why do I say that? Why do I say that about something that's not very objective? Intelligence is not something objective. It can be subjective because it's such a vast, such a broad concept, yeah. But I think some things, like some points to it, are very objective, and I can actually say these things about it. For instance, prejudice. If you're prejudiced, you're unintelligent. I don't care if you're freaking Aristotle. I don't care if you're Nietzsche, or however it's pronounced. I don't respect him, so I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name correctly. I don't care. I don't care if you're Mark Twain. I don't care. If you're prejudiced, you're unintelligent. And I'm gonna discredit you on all your works. I'm gonna completely ignore your works. You have no value to me if you're prejudiced. Yeah, you did something, but you're not that great for me. So if you can have such mean thoughts and conclusions about random people because they don't fit your standards, you don't fit my standards. That's how I feel about it. I think that intelligence is mainly about authenticity, and it has to come from a place of authenticity to be considered true intelligence. If everybody has their stupid definitions, here's mine. I think like when it first emerged, when it first started distinguishing us from other mammals, like we're not different than other mammals. We're just like them. We just have vaccines and um progressed medicine, so we are able to keep us healthy and make us like, artificially extend our lifespans and things like that. But other than that, we're vulnerable to the nature, and we're just like other animals. Anyways, what drove us forward? What made us so superior to other animals? I'm gonna say, to phrase it better, made us so significant in the way that we have such huge influence on the entire planet and almost on every species, unlike other animals. That's our intelligence. So let's go back to the time when this started emerging. How did it emerge? Where did it come from? It came from, at some point, our curiosity, right? Somebody was curious, somebody's curiosity killed the cat. But for some, they found out about some stuff. They kept finding out. And like there are endless ways to find out about stuff. And these ways can be considered conventionally intelligent or unintelligent. Stupid people can find out things. Stupid people, these terms are very relative, but I'm gonna like use them for convenience. Stupid people can become intelligent. I'm sorry, like you, it's such non-linear such a non-linear process. It is so unpredictable, in my opinion, that it's stupid to say anything definitive about it. I have been surprised by people I thought was very unintelligent. Is it true that some people are like objectively more intelligent than others? Yes. Like probably Newton was more intelligent than my neighbor and me. Okay, but there's a nuance, man. There's life on this planet, there's no life on Venus. But like there's a million things that make Earth different than Venus. And a million other things that cause those differences. You cannot exclude nuance, like you cannot ignore nuance. Because that makes you contradicting as a person who claims to be intelligent. It's all about, oh wait, it's all about skepticism. You have to be still curious. You can always be wrong about the things you were most sure about. Yeah. And like different civilizations, people who grew up in different conditions came up with similar ideas throughout the history. This is why intellectualism doesn't make sense. And it's a very Western centered, European centered. And I studied um, literature and history of literature, and like I take classes in university. And it's clear to me now that a lot of things, a lot of ideas we have of the world is based on European thinking. And we just acquired this from them. And this is the idea of better in our minds, which is very faulty in my opinion. Why are we pretending that Europeans invented thinking and science? Isn't Europe like the youngest civilization? Isn't there progression thanks to colonization? Are we just going to ignore the whole thing? This is why anything that centralizes Europe, in terms of science and philosophy, is just dumb in my opinion. It reminds me of the book *Sapiens* by Yuval Harris Noah. It was very annoying. Like it was a very irritating read. It was a hard read. Read, read. Yes. I don't want it to make sound spiritual, but anything that doesn't sound scientific, like in the ancient Greek way, they're gonna call it spiritual, and I kind of hate that. I hate Aristotle. I hate a lot of other guys. I mean, they were smart, but like, I don't have to conform to them. I don't have to study them to be considered intelligent. I can never have read a single page, a single paragraph, a single sentence from your old Greek philosophers. And I don't know. European Renaissance thinkers and still be very, very intelligent, still be very genius. What is this thinking? Or like, why do you constantly have to refer to somebody that came before you? I mean, our conditions were shaped by the world that they built, but you don't have to directly refer to them. Like, their ideas are also very faulty. Like, I can come up with a lot of things, and I did. I was smart, and like, when I was 7, I figured out a lot of stuff. Probably Plato didn't think of until he was 30 something. I can swear. I can swear to that. I can't prove it, but I can swear to that. Because that's how intelligence works. Because that's how people work. And intellectualism is a very unnatural way of looking at humans. I'm talking about like modern intellectualism in this day and age, mostly. Yeah. And I personally believe that um, being intelligent is not that hard. It's not like an innate talent. Like there's some genetic factor according to people, and like I've always wondered, for instance, why my civilization, my country, my nation doesn't see much progress. Why don't we like move forward? Why are we like pacing in the same confined area? Why does it feel like we're in a cage? Who built that cage? Who put us in that cage? And I have yet to like understand why. It's probably our education system, and it's probably because of authoritarian governments and things like that. But like, let's put this aside. Everybody can be intelligent, and like, you don't have to have a guideline. You do not need a guideline to be intelligent. And I think like it doesn't make much sense to me when people ask, where should I start if I want to read books? Where should I start if I want to even like learn about science? Pick a book. Pick any book. Keep looking. It's definitely is gonna make it harder than if you were guided, but it's gonna make it better. And I think it's gonna make it faster in a way. Like after some point, it's gonna make it faster. And then until that point, it's gonna go very slow. But you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn to learn. And I think that's the essence of science. The point of science is figuring out. The point of science is, um, oh my god, the glitter doesn't get off me. That's because I shine. It's the light within me that reflects. Yeah. The less prejudiced somebody is, the more I believe in their intelligence. Like, you should give things a chance. Like, I understand, like, you form some idea of stuff with experience, so it's just pattern recognition sometimes, but pattern recognition can be wrong. And maybe 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be right, but that 1 time out of 10 you're gonna be wrong. And sometimes what you're looking for, what you're missing, can be that 1 times out of 10. Can be that one thing that you ignore because of your prejudice. Like, how can you think you know too much? How can you think you know too much? There's always something to learn. And like, it is true that, for instance, my current surrounding is suffocating me, but not because I think they're not as intelligent, but rather because Like, I struggle socializing with people, and they are very limited. They're constantly limiting themselves. That's why it's suffocating. This country is suffocating. This city is suffocating for me. And this university is suffocating for me because there's a lot of limits. Why is there constantly some random limit to everything? Like, why can't I ask certain questions? Why can't I question certain things? Why? Hmm? Um, that's why I look down on a lot of like great thinkers. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean Aristotle thought of women as less? Like, what do you mean so many thinkers, so many great minds, brilliant minds of history thought women were just decoration? Like, you think half the population were useless because they have a different genitalia and boobs? Really? And you want me to take you seriously? You want me to take you seriously because you read Aristotle. I read Aristotle. It's in my shelf right now, but I don't think it makes me any better. I just see kind of reading history rather than reading philosophy, rather than enriching my intelligence.